Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we're gonna be continuing this story on Reddit. This one about the Chasm, as it says on the title. Well, let me continue. Just ignore it. It was a job easier said than done. And honestly, was it even a good idea? In my head, I ran through the list of potential voids that could be lurking behind us. Of course, none of them was really ideal, especially not the rowdy clown, whose laugh sounded hauntingly similar to the one we were hearing behind us. Wait a minute. Oh, and there it is again, louder this time. I muttered in a barely audible freak in response. Realistically, if it did turn out to be one of the voids, putting up some kind of resistance would have been pointless. Anyway, we're as good as done for. With that logic in mind, I turned my attention back to the monitors, hoping that whatever the hill was behind us would stay put for a bit longer. Meantime, Hugo and Cal were about to fight the gladiator and his minions. What? Hey, Englishman, Cal said. You regenerate quickly? What? Hugo sighed, stretching his neck out. First of all, don't call me that. It's rather crass, and no, not much faster than the average man. But no matter. God has ordered me a holy commission. He won't let me die until I've fulfilled my duty. What is this? Kel just laughed. You're a real piece of work, British boy. British boy, yeah. That's weird. Let's see if your God helps us make it out of here. You two aren't who I'm looking for, the gladiator bellowed before releasing the both leashes. Take out the trash. The freak ran about 6 steps before having his face caved in and neck subsequently snapped by Hugo. Meantime, the centipede started crawling towards Cal. Who the frick created that thing? He asked, shuddering lightly. It lifted itself up, swinging 2 of its arms at the visibly disturbed vampire. Shit. Don't touch me, he shouted before kicking its face, removing its muzzle in the process. He regenerated that decision instantly. He regretted. The centipede had 4 or 5 rows of spike-like teeth with a horde of flesh-covered tentacles swarming out of his mouth. Oh, that's weird. One of them grabbed Cale by the leg, dragging him down. Damn! God damn it! He shouted, attempting to squirm out of the appendage's grasp. Nevertheless, Hugo came to the rescue, turning Centipede's head into mush with one vicious stomp. He shot Cal in a cold gaze. Take his name in vain. What? Okay? Take his name in vain again, and our temporary alliance is over. Kel shook the tentacle remains of his leg, his face still literally disgusted. Yeah, holy freaking shit. She boobity. This is nasty. And then they both stared at the gladiator, who was grinding something malicious. Congratulations, you have earned the privilege of being my combat slaves. Oh, I will literally rather die, Kel responded. I submit myself to God and on God only. Diseases like you shall perish at his will, Hugo added. What? The gladiator drew his smouldering sword, which must have been the size of a person. Then so be it, he roared. Then so be it, he roared. The two rushed him simultaneously, attempting to bury the burning menace with a fury of quick strikes. But it wasn't the best idea. They couldn't even touch him without suffering from burns themselves. Kel said, Some a-hole just had to dig this freak up, did they? The gladiator stepped forward, unleashing a big swing that singed a few hairs off Hugo's head. Bab, 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 he shouted before sending a hard cross at the gladiator, shattering his chestplate armor in the process. You were pretty strong there, Brit. We just might win this one, Cal grinned. Just like I said, God will give me enough strength to overcome these trials. Whatever, this is weird. Hugo moved towards the gladiator with a seemingly unwavering resolve, his eyes shining a bright crimson. His face was wrought with such intense, stoic determination that I nearly forgot his ultimate goal was to commit global genocide and began cheering him on. What? The gladiator sneered at the challenge, swinging his blade once again. This time Hugo deflected it with an elbow, cracking the metal while so. What? Oh, wait a minute, Hugo. Okay. He followed up by directing a flying hook kick at the gladiator's jaw, managing to rip it off completely. Okay, goodbye, Joe. Kill followed up by biting into the gladiator's shoulder and tearing a large chunk off, burning most of his face off in the process. Oh, ugh, he said, spitting out the charged undead flesh. Not my cup of tea. Are you right? Hugo asked, staring at his weird face. Yeah, it should heal up in no time. Okay. However, the gladiator was relentless, letting out a frenzied roar before bolting towards Kill. Kill. He managed to dodge most of the gladiator's blows, only taking the full burn of his last punch. Still, that one blow was enough to form a deep, fleshy crater in his torso, while also slanting him flying into the steel rail, causing it to bend. Freak! Kale stammered out, staring down on the unsightly wound. Nope, that's not good. Gonna take longer to heal. Hugo exhaled. The situation has become bothersome. He went back after the gladiator, sending a ruthless barrage of strikes in the way. There was evident kill gasp between the two voids, with Hugo landing about 90% of the attacks. On the other hand, and the gladiator only managed to get 3 or 4 clean hits on its own. Nevertheless, each one of them dealt far more damage than any Hugo's. After about a minute of fighting, Hugo's left arm was completely mangled. His right ribcage had been shattered, and his entire right side of his face burned. Oh, you poor person. Gladiator has taken a fair amount of damage, but not nearly enough to even slow it down. Kale groaned as he attempted to insert himself back into the fight, but that task wasn't an easy one. He would hardly move his torso about, completely destroyed. I suppose this must be my final trial, what Hugo said somewhat solemnly. Okay. What are you talking about? Kale asked, still groaning. And then, for the first time since we began watching, Hugo smiled. God wills it. What the hell? He's like, God wants me to kill this guy. Yeah, he's a bad guy. Whatever. This is my last trial. Bloody bloody blah, whatever. Using his good arm, Hugo removed the upper section of his robe, revealing a pale, mutilated, scar-hidden body beneath. He muttered another prayer, before looking up at the ceiling, tears now swelling up at his eyes. Thank you, he muttered. Along with his eyes, the scars on his body began glowing a deep red. Tricks won't be enough, the gladiator thundered, before swinging his naked blade at Hugo's neck. I don't think I managed to catch exactly what happened next. However, I was certain I was about to see a head rolling. Instead, the gladiator's blade shattered into what looked like a million pieces. At first, I didn't even notice the gaping hole in the gladiator's chest. How did you? The gladiator was interrupted by his neck being brutally cranked to the side. As the flying behemoth dropped, so did Hugo. By then, Kale had regenerated to the point of being able to walk. He stumbled over to the near Comatoso, Bishop. What the frick is that? He asked, half grinning. I detached myself from earthly limitations and egregious a sin. But I needed to fulfill my holy mission, whatever. Well, she boobity, that was pretty cool. I guess, not your psycho mission, but the whole detachment thing. He held out his hand in an attempt to help Hugo get up. However, Hugo shook his head in response. This is far as I go. Not something I can recover from. I only have judgment to face now. What? Oh, shut the frick up, Kel said, picking Hugo's limp body and lumbering it to his shoulder. We'll find you some painkillers and put and then you'll be back on your feet in no time. Why would you help me? Hugo asked. You understand what I'm after, don't you? My ideals? Well, I don't think I could have handled the gladiator on my own. I guess I owe you. You crazy freak. He looked over at Hugo and grinned. And who knows, maybe you'll learn something. Yeah, there's a lot of scam in the world, but there's a lot of beauty. You don't have to destroy it all. Hugo passed out before he could finish what he thought. Still carrying him over at his shoulder, Kill took off running down another corridor. I did quite a quick sweep of the other monitors. The bot, it says Satan bot, but I'm gonna just say bot because I don't really want, had taken out 2 of lower tier voids, while Morgie was engaged with a high hurricane void named the Mechanic. Like the name suggested, it was a large burly man in a metallic outfit that enjoyed obliterating skulls and blunt tools. With blunt tools. Real ruthless guy. On another monitor, the undead, because the next thing is NA. The people that were killing people. I'm not gonna say it, cause yeah, had just finished slicing the shiboobity boobity out of the nurse, who was a mid-tsunami. So that's 12 down, I thought, 20 left. The Shibubi show wasn't anywhere near done. Check it out, Sanhu said. There are still 4 voids who haven't escaped yet. Sure enough, he was right. First, the Titan. 15 foot, aka 5 meters, and 1,400 pounds and something, aka 650 kilograms. Oh my god, this guy's fat. He needs to stop eating for a little. Even I am not that fat. A colossal entity with destructive capabilities that were nigh impossible to be dealt with. It was humanoid but its immensely muscular frame further accentuated by the fact that there wasn't an ounce of fat on its entire body. Oh, its harder than steel skin was reddish and cracked all over, with a roadmap of razor-like veins plunging out at every square inch. And then there was the face. 6 sets of glowing blue eyes and a mouthful of fangs which exposed gums that were caustic to the touch. His holding cell, if you can even call it that, was a bit more fortified than the chest. I'm under-exaggerating, of course. It was fortified to goddamn hell. No electronic locks connected to the central system either, which is probably what caused the breach to begin with. Good thing too, he was a low asteroid. Next up, the Warden. 8'7", aka 2.5 meters, and 197 kilograms, aka 435 pounds. I hate reading numbers. I hate it. Ironically enough, this guy apparently used to run a prison of his own. What? What kind of prison that might be was beyond me. He had a pale white skin, shadow-like eyes, and long, sleek-haired black silver hair. His trench coat was long and perpetually bloody, sweeping the floor as he walked. I've heard stories about the guy. Supposedly, he killed upwards to 700 prisoners during a breach at his prison, managing to come out unscratched from a devastating explosion afterwards. He was as dangerous as a void could get without being considered asteroid tier, being a high earthquake. What? Funnily enough, his cage was wide open with guards' bodies and destroying mech suits blistering the space, not space, the outer space. But instead of getting up and walking out, he simply sat, expression devoid of anything like at all. It usually was. Obviously, he was up to nothing good. Next one, quite the doozy, the strongest void of the entire chasm, in fact. When it went by a simple moniker, The calamity of Earth. Or just the calamity, for sure. Okay? Gender unknown. Height and weight unknown. Appearance unknown to everybody except from the top officials overseeing this entire operation. Hill, we didn't even know where it was kept. The only thing we had to monitor was a simple panel containing 3 lights. Green, safe, still contained. Yellow, breakout in process, evacuate immediately. Red, breached, too freaking late. What did we know about the thing? Nothing. Save for the fact that a breach would most likely result in a global catastrophe. Of course, high asteroid. The only high asteroid, in fact. And there was at least the last still captive voice. But unlike 3 overpowered monsters I've already talked about, he's a lot different. The kid! Legit, it writes right here, the kid. 5'6", 168 centimeters, and 142 pounds, 64 kilograms. As his name implies, the kid was just that, a kid. From his appearance, he couldn't have been much older than his 16, 17 at most. The only thing we knew apparently about him was that he apparently had extraordinary undisclosed abilities he used to slaughter his entire village back in Kerala, India. But who the hell knows what actually happened? To me and nearly every other guard, he seemed like your average meek teenager. In fact, we rarely even exercised caution around him. Unlike the rest of the voids here, he just did as he was told to. Oh, what? Always with this incredibly sullen expression at his face. I suppose that I can't blame him. Given the circumstances, we didn't even bother putting a threat level on him. Nevertheless, we were instructed to keep him there. Whatever. There's a lot of stuff going on there in the Chasm that us guards don't quite understand. I make no reservations about that. I know for a goddamn fact that not everything we're not doing any saintly work here. Do a lot of boys in here deserve to be locked up? Not even. They deserve to be wiped off the face of the earth. I never understood why we even bothered holding the more malicious ones, using taxpayer money to keep them alive. Yeah, I think you should just get them to outer space, and then they're dead. That's it. That's just it. And then there was the ones that I wasn't quite belonged here. I wasn't quite sure belonged here at all. Did they even do anything wrong? Who knows? But one thing was for sure, they were different and exceptional. I guess the subjects of state curiosity. I always tried suppressing these thoughts. I mean, who the hell was I? Just some random guard, not some arbiter of morality. Still. Frick it. There was no time. Let's see what happened next. I turned to face a random monitor, trying to take my mind off the kid. I caught what appeared to be in the middle of a fight, with the 2 combatants being Jack the Ripper, the serial killer. Wait a minute, 6'1", 185 centimeters, and 170 pounds, aka 77 kilograms. The infamous serial killer, apparently he had performed some arcane ritual while on death's door that granted him an extended lifespan and superhuman strength in exchange for what was left of his already dwindling humanity. He hardly resembled a human when we caught him, with a mouth full of sharp rotting teeth, eyes sunken beyond reason, and the face riddled with cuts, burns, and various infections. He was quite the sore sight to behold. At that moment he was once again on death's door. The person who put him there? Bella Vauclain, aka Bloody Painter. Really? I've heard all these creepypastas. I've heard this creepypasta, man. 5 foot, 165 centimeters, 122 pounds, 55 kilograms. Despite looking more or less like a normal woman, she was a brutal assassin that wasn't too concerned with the aftermath of her jobs. After killing her target, she would paint a bad laddie picture on the walls. Sometimes she'd supplement her art with a few organs. A few organs. Yeah, let's put it there, right? Like Susef. She wasn't incredibly strong, but didn't matter all too much. She had this obscure ability where she could summon blades out of thin air and the tips of her fingers, and then use some Esper-like ability to shoot them off in rapid succession, almost like a machine gun-like rate of fire. Oh, no problems reducing her triggers to mincemeat. The one she really disliked, that's it. We finally captured her. She maintained that she only killed the ones that really deserved it. However, any chance of appeal, not that there was a chance to begin with, was shattered when she punctured the throats of 4 guards. She still claims it, and that's it. An accident to this day. Do I believe her? Well, it's about 50-50 with me. Oh, wait a minute. I've heard this story of Bloody Painter, but oh my god, you're doing this really complicated and you don't need to. Creepypasta writer, but yeah, I think you have 9 episodes, so I hope I see the Bloody Painter versus somebody who has superpowers or something. This would be epic. What about the undead guy? Yeah, do you want to see that? Hopefully we will. Well, like I said, she had Jack on the ropes with what must have been over 100 blades planted firmly within the killer's body, including both his eyes. He had yet to give up as he swung Wirehead's bat. What? He must have picked it up blindly and wildly around him. Wait a minute. Bella wasn't unscathed herself. It looked like she had taken a couple of pretty bad hits on her ribs and high and thigh. In addition to that, she had a gouty bite mark on her hand. Nevertheless, she smiled as she pointed her finger like a pistol at the fragile Jack. What the hell is this Spanish? Profiter del Lenfer, she said before blasting the killer into stretch, finally ending his grim legacy. Once she was done with what she let out as a loud sigh, clutching her ribs and wincing in pain. Unlike most of the other voids, she wasn't capable of taking too much punishment. After walking for a bit, she came across loose. Oh, while still badly mangled from Wirehead, him being against Wirehead, he was walking again. I didn't even know that he could regenerate that quickly. The two stared at each other for a minute before Bella stuck out her hand and smiled. It was a risk, for sure, but while Luz didn't reciprocate the smile, he cooperated, accepting the handshake without electrocuting her. Another team up, and that one that I wouldn't necessarily have expected. Well, whatever. I did another quick sweep of the monitors. Morgie had taken out the mechanic. Well, although he was limping now, and his next fight wasn't gonna be an easy one. Some few steps away from the coming Satan boat. The meantime, and funnily enough, the undead was about to square off with the sadistic Soviet 6 foot to 187 centimeters and 98 kilograms, aka 2,215 pounds. The low earthquake tier. Instead of being zombified like the Nancy, he was more mechanical, more specifically about 60% robotic, with his human bits slowly beginning to rot away. The surgeon was engaged in bloody duel with Spider-Man. What? 2 meters and 100 kilos. Unlike Peter Parker, this guy was basically just a large tarantula with human skin and half-human head. Okay, I was waiting for some Spider-Man guy right there. Killing Hugo. Wait a minute. Well, Kelly and Hugo were in the medical center with the foreman tending to the latter's wounds. I thought about everything for a second, trying to run the numbers through my head. 4 more voids who had definitely escaped, that I hadn't yet seen from on any monitors, but I was really only concerned about 2 of them. You see, within the Chasm there were 4 asteroid tier voids in total. Only 2 of them were still contained. The problem was rather obvious. Beyond that, there were 14 voids dead, who still haven't joined the fight. 4 who still haven't fought. 14 currently active. All 4 asteroids still in play. 3 high earthquakes as well. TFVNAs likely on their way. Holy frick, I thought to myself, the real fight hasn't even started. A bout of sudden reckless slaughter nearly gave me a heart attack. I looked at Sand, but his face was dead serious. What that meant, bibbidi boobidi, with everything that's going on, I completely forgot about the elephant in the room. But sure enough, they were finally ready to reveal themselves. As footsteps began emanating from the darkness behind us, I braced myself for whatever horrific entity we were surely about to encounter. But instead of that, it was an unfamiliar guy that looked to be in his mid-20s with a messy, dirty blonde hair, dressed in Hawaiian shirt and khaki shorts, probably around 2 meters, 5 foot 10, whatever, and 130 pounds, aka 60 kilograms, soaking wet. What the hell? Sancho said upon seeing him. The man continued laughing as he strolled upon us. Oh man, he blurted begin chuckles. There is booby in both your pants now, isn't there? Don't lie to me. Well, the joke's gone on long enough. Who the freak are you? Sancho asked, sounding somewhat agitated. The man put his arms on an absolutely defensive manner. Relax, I'm just an observer here, but his bloodshot eyes seemed to bulge out as they wandered over to the monitors. It looks like the preliminaries are over. Time for the good things. Yeah, things. You know what? Let's go on for a bit more. Yeah. I'm so sorry I forgot to introduce myself. The man stepped towards us with a gaze that I can only describe as volatile. Perhaps at the moment he had no ill intent. But there were volcanoes behind his eyes, volcanoes that looked ready to erupt at any damn point. For that reason I found myself slowly backing away. But not Sancho. For whatever reason he stood his ground, facing the strange man without reservation. I suppose it also helped that he was 6'4", with a considerably larger flamethrower. His name was Adrian Nyquist, he said, his voice nearly shaking with some kind of obscure excitement. He held out his hands, but neither of us bothered the niceties of the introduction. He sighed. What, is it me? He lifted his shirt collar, taking a whiff. Oh, you gotta shower more, Adrian. And then he started laughing again. But can't you blame me? I've been busy. And who the frick are you? Sancho insisted. And don't tell us your name again. Okay, Adrian said, smirking. Big guy, scary stuff. Really? What did you bench? 3 plates and a bit? Sancho opened his mouth again, but was interrupted. It's fine though. I'll go ahead and explain myself. I mean, the whole situation, or situations, kind of weird. Yup, I suppose, I responded, kind of. Adrian sat down on the floor and let out a big puff of air. I don't really want to go too in-depth here. I don't enjoy talking about myself, so let me drop a bomb on you first. I caused the bridge. I nearly swallowed my tongue. What? What the frick do you mean? I meant what I said. I let all the prisoners out. But what? How? I stammered out. He tilted his head back and groaned, before pretending to type on an invisible keyboard. Just a little hacking, man. Nothing crazy. And they say that you'll never use the skills you learned in school in real life. Pfft. Hacking, I responded in disbelief. But why? Well, that's where it goes a little crazy. Now, have you ever hooped dimensions? What? Have I ever freaking what? Alright, I see you're unentitled by the concert. Well, unlike hacking some corny lock system, the logistics we're ready to do get complicated. I'll admit that I don't 100% understand it myself, but I understand it just enough to have some fun. It was a complete loss. I'm a jumper, that's what they call us. He chuckled somewhat goofily. Still a novice. But at least I'm out there doing it. Living life, you know. Anyway, the multiverse is massive. Really? Are you gonna throw multiverses in these things? Okay, a lot of crazy words out there, waiting to be explored, but he paused. I made a mistake last month. You see, I was watching some brutal big stakes fighting tournament called the Evisceration Championships on a planet called the Hellscape. Real freaked out place. But water laws are mostly unenforced there. So, you know, it's alright. I guess, anyway. You know, I'm up. You know what we mean right here about water. Yeah. I'm up in the stands, 12th row. Just blitzed out of my freaking mid on Astro Coke. It's like regular Coke if regular Coke was actually good. Okay, this is weird. He blew his nose into a disgusting handkerchief. But sometimes you make some bad decisions when you're reduced. I guess school taught us something else. Huh. Long story short, I made a deal with some freaking sketchy intergalactic gang leader named Bones the Fourth that I'd provide him a fighter that would guarantee him a win for the next tournament. But obviously, I was just talking freak. Not sure that why the guy believed me, and Astro Cokehead, of all the people, he burst out laughing again. I'll never understand the rich. Okay, I responded, barely comprehending what I just been told. Assuming that what you just said is all true, and that you're not completely freaking bonkers. Why don't you just tell the guy that you don't have a fighter? Well, Adrian made a whoopsie getting with his hands. The guy paid up front, a metric fraction of intergalactic currency that was about 22 kilograms of Astro Coke, whatever, 50 pounds, whatever. Then just go to him and give it back. Alright, Mr. Self-Control, teach me your secrets. Look, I've blown all the money. I still have a few kilograms of coke, though, for a rainy day. Not sharing, by the way. So what the hell, this whole thing is some fucking tournament for you? You're just gonna drag the last void standing to the fight in these aviation matches? Well, it's less of a tournament and more of a hazard free for all. I'm no logistics expert after all. I didn't know what I was supposed to say to this guy. If you're behind this breach, then you're responsible for the deaths of hundreds of guards, hundreds of good men, Sandu coughed. Most of them good men. He rolled his eyes. Yeah, okay, real loss. Huh? Just trying to live my life here, man. You're insane. Look, did that come and get us anywhere? You feel better now after stating the obvious? No reply from Sandu. Andrew sighed. Look, can't we just enjoy the show now? What's done is done. He was interrupted by Sandu trying to tackle him on the ground. The man did know his jiu-jitsu, but no luck. He couldn't even get Adrian to budge. I saw the veins on his forehead plunging as he apparently exerted all of his strength trying to subdue the strange lanky man. Sheer. Yeah, sheer, not something else. He said, through gritted teeth, this guy's strong. Adrian simply pulled out a pack of cigarettes, looking completely unbothered. You know, I've taken a lot of strange water from a lot of different dimensions. One of them was bound to be a steroid. What? Also, he began grinning like a maniac. I'm no stranger to training. Wouldn't survive out there if I was weak like you guys. He picked Sandhu up by the collar and gently tossed him back. Given the circumstances, I'll forget you tried to attack me. Now, why don't we just have a sit tight and watch? I held up a hand. One question, if you will. Andrew rolled his eyes and groaned like a child. Come on, we're missing the good things, but fine, hurry up. The last voice was standing. They're bound to pretty strong, right? Adrian nodded. Stronger than you? Well, no, freak. I'm not trying to grab some chump. Okay, so how the hell are you gonna convince them to come with you? These prisoners aren't exactly reasonable. Adrian stared at me with just about the stupidest look on his face around 10 seconds. Well, you know what they say, he cracked his chuckles. You gotta live in the now. You're an idiot. Would an idiot get this far? Yes. The idiot had a point. The idiot. How many times did I say idiot? I think 5 or 6. Yeah. Idiot. 7. Whatever. The idiot had a point. If he really was the mastermind behind the breach, then the guy had some wicked skills. But at the same time, his common sense was close to non-existent. Whatever, I figure out, and when the time comes, he said. In the meantime, he shot us both a rather menacing glare. Let's enjoy the damn show. Okay, you are a damn psychopath. I locked eyes briefly with Sandhu. I understood why he's angry. I was too. However, the situation was really beyond helping. We could only as we were told. While we had been talking, the undead defeated the Soviet. Yeah. Even though the Soviets had defeated Nazis, but whatever. Although he did suffer gruesome injuries from the boat, a portion of his gas mask had been shattered, revealing a rotting jaw underneath. In fact, his entire body had been pummeled to a near pulp as he struggled to limp along the rails. Adrian grunted. Great, we missed the World War II rematch. I hope you guys are happy with yourselves. The guy really was like a child, a really capable psychotic child. In other news, Satanbot had blown up Morgie along with an entire corridor. Yeah. Well, the surgeon had made a surprise discovery after disassembling the spider's abdomen. It was filled with about 200 smaller humanoid spiders that began swarming in. It was hard not to shudder at the sight. Bella and Luz looked like they were still trying to find a way out, while Kiel and Hugo had encountered the rowdy clown. 2 meters and, about 2 meters, whatever. 7 foot 8 and 234 centimeters, or 200 pounds, 80 kilograms. Rowdy really was something else. His appearance didn't just make you fear clowns, but at the carnival, He made you fear life itself. An impossibly tall, skinny and pale ghoul-like humanoid dressed in bloody, dirty 160s, well, whatever, 60s clown costume, with twitching twig-like fingers and cracked red lips, enveloping a mouth filled with sharp, sticky black teeth. Okay, you get the picture, and you put it on it. Yeah, it's pretty creepy. And then there was the fact that he had no eyes and too thin. Bleeding slits for a nose. I really do wonder what kind of god could create such an entity. But it wasn't terribly wrong. Terribly strong. Only a mid-tsunami. Rowdy spat a mouthful of dark, gooey spit at Cal, dissolving the right side of his face. Cal muttered, trying to wipe the ungodly substance away, only to pull apart bits of his flesh and muscle in the process. Just nuke this freaking place. Rowdy began cackling like the hellish fiend he was, swinging a lead balloon attached to barbed wire. At the still injured Hugo's head. However, Kill managed to intercept with it in the last moment, breaking his own hand in the process. Suddenly a pair of giant bat-like wings sprouted from his back. He flew towards Rowdy, before drop-kicking his head clean off. That seems like something you should have used earlier, Hugo remained non-hollowly. You know I would, but doing so makes me feel pretty gross. Okay, I decided to check back on the surgeon, but he was gone. Oh, frick, I muttered, as I began seeing the black haze around me, felt a cold hand on my shoulder, followed by a high-pitched, slimy voice that oozed its way into my ears. You got me out of a real sticky situation there. Hesitantly I looked up at the surgeon's cold, dark gaze as he grinned like a maniac down me. And then his neck was twisted a full 360 degrees. Oh, as we dropped, Adrian let out a big breath of air, stretching out his knuckles. Guy broke the rules, now running from a fight. Besides, he was weak. Wouldn't have stood a chance in the evisceration matches anyway. Is he dead? I stammered down, looking down at the limp surgeon. Yeah, Adrian responded. I took my head in disbelief. But we've put sniper bullets through his temple. How did you? Adrian shot me a smug grin. Like I said, you're just weak. Now keep watching. Things are getting pretty interesting. A few moments later, the undead, not Nazi, I'm gonna say you undead, because I don't want my video going down. The undead came across the remains of Spider and its hatchlings, torching them to ashes without hesitation, allowing me to breathe easier. Okay, breathe easier. Yeah, now they're burned. You can smell burned spiders. Spiders for lunch, everybody. Immediately after taking out the spider, he crossed paths with a chattering man, 5'11", 180 centimeters, 145 pounds, and 66 kilograms, mid-earthquake tier. As much as I hated sympathizing with the Nazis, The guy couldn't seem to catch a break, resembling a horribly slouched humanoid. The chattering man was the kind of creature that parents told their kids about in an attempt to scare them about being good. Each and every one of his limbs were jagged and controlled, covered by thin, borderline translucent skin that was still inexplicably bulletproof. His eyes were covered in a damp, bloody, and dirty cloth, while his long black matted hair swayed wildly as he twisted around. And then there was his teeth. They were giant, about twice the size of normal humans, and consisting with his name, rapidly and consistently charged like hell, yielding one of the most disturbing sounds imaginable. Adrian slammed his fist on the table in excitement. Yes, this is a matchup I've been waiting to see. The chattering man stared Nazi down, his teeth rattling together like a fanciful, demonic drum. The undead, not Nazi, undead, responded by abruptly inflating a sea of flames. However, the chattering man simply walked through it completely unscratched. I could see the Nazi's clench his jaw, apparently frustrated. He drew his knife and rushed in, attempting to engage him up close. The chatterer was surprisingly fast, dodging its slash before biting down at the Nazi's flamethrower tank. The subsequent explosion flung them both in the air, destroying a good portion of the undead's back and in the process. On the other hand, the chattering man only suffered a few cracked teeth. Oh, holy hell, I muttered. Truth be told, I had never actually seen the chattering man in action up until that point. Perhaps we had been balling on him. On the threat scale, the undead let out a hoarse scream before rushing back towards the disturbing opponent. He managed to sink his blade into the chattering man's shoulder before being blindsided by a swipe to the face, causing spurts of dark green blood to explode everywhere. He followed it up by ripping an arm off before savagely beating the undead soldier with his own appendage. The undead attempted to one last stunt, grabbing the knife that was still lodged inside his shoulder, the undead man's shoulder, carving a large slash that extending down his ribcage. Nevertheless, his admittedly impressive run was finally over. Not seeming to acknowledge the wound at all, the chattering man plunged two bony fists into the undead's chest, before ripping his torso in half. Quite a gruesome display for sure, but Adrian seemed to revel in it. He let out a raucous cheer for the victor. What the frick is wrong with this guy? I thought to myself. Yeah, that's actually true. Tossing that thought aside, it became apparently that these things were beginning to come down to the wire. Well, Kiel and Hugo had found themselves within the vicinity of the dancing guy. Okay, 5'7", 170 centimeters, and 155 pounds, aka 71 kilograms. He was an ordinary-looking, albeit racially ambitious man in his mid-twenties with short light brown hair and a perpetual 5 o'clock shadow, dressed in a plain white t-shirt and track. Why am I speaking like this? And track pants. He always wore a pair of unbranded earbuds connected to an MP3 that was never seemed to run out of battery. Whatever. And of course he never stopped dancing. Mid-asteroid, the third strongest being within the entire Chasm. Hell, entirely possible that he actually is the strongest. We have never seen him fight against the top two. After all, so just how the heel was such an ostensibly innocuous man so dangerous? Who the hell know? Like most of other prisoners, he was beyond explanation. If I had to classify him, he would be 100% be chaotic neutral. He had no conception of good or evil, no sense of right or wrong, no goals, no ideals. The guy just wanted to dance, and he sure as hell wanted was a menace while doing so. Yet, he would never go out of his way to bother you. You just had to stay out of his. Well, wait a minute. So he was dancing. He was just dancing, yeah. He could disintegrate people just by touching them. He would simply dance through you, leaving nothing but shreds of flesh and blood behind. And if you ever tried stopping him, oh boy, you'll see. His eyes were always closed when he was dancing, too, the music funneling into his ears. If that music ever stopped, then he'd be forced to open them up. And then all hell would break loose. Okay. He would go on a rampage until he got those earbuds back. And nothing could take him down in the process. Nothing. For that reason, it was better to leave him undisturbed, allowing him to dance to his heart's content. For that reason, his holding cell was the largest, giving him plenty of room to do so. Yeah, he just was hearing music. Yeah. Fun fact, he listens to many genres, but his favorite is EDM, specifically melodic trance to hard style. Whatever. But now he was out. Bad news for everybody, and Kel knew it. She bibbidi-boobidi, he muttered. We're not dealing with that. Why? Hugo asked. Is he strong? Kel nodded. More than you know. Then that's all the more reason why we need to eliminate him, Hugo said, attempting to crawl towards the dancer. But before he could make the biggest mistake of his life, Kel scooped him up and began running the other direction. Let's not do that. Yeah, big boys are coming out. I hope these two guys, the weird vampire cop and the priest, win, cause yeah, they seem good and sympathetic. I like them really much. Whatever, that's just my opinion. If you wanna I don't know, the weird guys that are wanting to kill everybody and not the people that are like, yeah, let's do this or this. That's your opinion. Maybe the Bloody Painter and these guys. Maybe they could all go on a squad. Yeah, that would be perfect. But no, this story is not going to be doing this. Too bad, but whatever. Adrian's abrupt shout, whatever, nearly shattered my eardrums. I glanced over to see which monitor he was looking at, and then I understood his excitement. Satambot had gone across his next opponent, but it wasn't one he was gonna have such an easy time with. Standing opposite of him at the walkway on every top floor was Long Wu, aka the Mechanic Menace. 7 foot, aka 2 meters, 375 pounds, aka 170 kilograms, mid-asteroid right in between the Calamity and the Dancing Guy in terms of estimated strength. Was actually a special case, you see. He was originally heard in the Chinese equivalent of the Chasm. What? Chinese? Known as the whale. However, as a political favor, a complicated exchange, mind you. The U.S. allowed the PRC to transfer you over. This was shortly after he killed 400 plus guards and nearly escaped entirely. Oh, poor guards. They just really didn't want to deal with him anymore. He was also interesting in the sense that he wasn't born with any supernatural abilities or superhuman powers. His danger came from his brilliant but unhinged mind, and his obsession with the concept of transhumanism and being the change that shifts humanity into a new technological age. His original process-driven ideals could have been determined noble at this point, but then he went off a deep end with power and decided to prove just how much better we could be only once we had fully integrated ourselves with technology. And how did he decide to do this? By trying to kill everybody and everybody he saw. Anybody and everybody he saw. Yeah. You could be like, you know what? Place a bad thing in me. I don't know. Place a bad illness on me. I won't die. You should do this too. No, I'm gonna kill everybody instead. This is logic. This guy is very clever, yeah. His power came from his suit, which he apparently semi-fused to his own body. It was comprised of a dark, unidentifiable material that had so far proved to be unbreakable. With it, he had a vast arsenal of devastatingly overpowered weapons at his disposal. Machine guns, shotguns, explosive knives, you name it. Both of the eyes on his helmet were also capable of firing railgun blasts. But his most powerful weapon was something called the Singularity Blade. The weapon was where the science ended and freaked up shit began. Being about 5 feet, 5 feet blade, whatever, and glowing a deep amber, this sword was an enigma. I'm not sure how he made it or what he did to attain it, but it sure as hell wasn't the result of any kind of engineering. Anytime he swung it, a sharp, ear-splitting roll could be heard from everywhere and nowhere at once. And then, from the tip of the blade, some kind of ghost-like serpent-esque entity would emerge. Oh, utterly annihilating with everything in the area in its flames, fangs and claws. Oh yeah, just perfect. What you would like to run up on. Well, where was I? And yeah. You can only see it for about a second, and mostly guards were under the impression that it didn't even exist, but it does and it's haunting. They're gonna destroy the place, Santos said. Adrian pulled an old-looking pack of peanuts off his back pocket, stuffing a handful into his mouth. You got that right, he shouted, spitting crumbs everywhere. We took the first offensive, unleashing a typhoon of bullets from a chain gun that jutted out of his chest. The bot managed to dodge every shot, closing the distance between them in the process. Both of their movements that were incredibly hard to follow, of course. Once he got close, he attempted to strike Wu with his tail, only to have it blocked by a large shield that abruptly materialized from his forearm. Wu attempted to slice the tail off with a large axe, but Bot managed to evade the blow, and at the last second I suddenly understood why he was so dangerous. Unlike Bot, whose weapons were already fixed on his body, Wu's suit was capable of adapting to any situation, morphing its robotic appendages into whatever weapon was best suited to countering his opponent. Jesus, I muttered to the realization. This guy's a monster! Oh my god, what can I say? Even though the bot had managed to dodge that strike, the next one would prove more difficult to evade. A bouldering flash-like movement. Wu threw a Muay Thai kick at Satanbot's side, piercing it with a spike that protruded from the tip of his foot. Oh my god, he finished the combo by transforming his fist to a tool comparable in appearance to a meat grinder, drilling it into Bot's shoulder, tearing an arm off in the process. Yeah, normal stuff. Adrian groaned, and here I thought the robot, bad word robot, was gonna put up more of a fight. But he spoke too soon. After taking the hits, the bot was already on the counter, wiping his tail around the side of Wu's head. Wu recoiled slightly, still managed to destroy one of his knees with an railgun blast as he staggered. He was about to finish the job when a large cannon materialized from Bot's torso, a hidden last stand weapon, I suppose. From the barrel, it fired an immense blast of purple energy that Wu barely had time to dodge as it scorched the side of his helmet. It blew a gigantic hole in the fortified ceiling, causing sunlight to leak in. Keep in mind that we were also about 100 feet underground, aka 30 meters, I don't know, whatever. But Wu didn't give Bot any more time to reveal any further tricks, blasting its body to bits and pieces with a brutal spray from an automatic grenade launcher. It seems as Adrian was about to pass out from the excitement. "That's my boy!" he shouted. "Frick bones, we're gonna win this whole tournament ourselves." What I hadn't noticed was Bella and Luz watching the whole encounter from behind cover. Bella's eyes lit up upon seeing the hole, a rather convenient escape route. She ran out of her hiding spot before leaping an extraordinary distance into the air, right towards freedom. But then, out of nowhere, a massive armored hand grabbed her by the neck. From the surface, a gigantic man dressed in a steam-lined mech suit of a model that I wasn't familiar with dropped down, landing hard on the walkway. He continued to hit non-hailing strangle Bela as he surveyed the scene. What a mess, his booming voice reverberated through the monitors. It's time to enforce justice. If Adrian was giggly before, he was off the rails now. They're healed, they're finally here. Time for the semi-freaking finals. "Who's here?" I asked, already somewhat knowing the answer. "The Alpha, boys and girls, the Apex Predators," he responded. "Task Force and Void Nova Hammer." "Oh, it was the task force," Oh my god, this is what the FBI would send. Really? Well, that's a lot of things, like sending some guy at this kid. Well, that's logic. I really would expect something like this from the person who wrote this. So, what do we have? We have weird creatures. We have weird creatures fighting. So, we take Back to the Future, dimension people who are going in everywhere, SCP, Prison Break. What else will this guy put in this? I can't understand. Hopefully we see something better. Let's go. That's it for today's video, and I'll see you in another one. Peace out.